What if the thing holding you back isn't what you're doing wrong, but how often you start over? We're talking about why most people don't need a new program at all today on the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast.
Welcome to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast
with Garrett Williamson.
Health, wellness, exercise, nutrition, and a whole lot more. Got questions? Call us and leave a message at 251-278-EDGE or message us at Personal Edge Fitness on Facebook and Instagram, at Team PE on Twitter, or personaledgefitness.com.
Hey, welcome back to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast. My name is Garrett Williamson. I'm president of Personal Edge Fitness, and thank you so much for joining us. Now, this is part 5, the final episode of our series, The Live Age, Simplifying Fitness and Nutrition. And I want to start this one with a bit of irony. Honestly, it's kind of funny. I've made my living in fitness. I hope that's not a surprise to anyone. And yet today, I'm going to tell you something you don't hear very often in this industry. You probably don't need a new program. And I know, coming from someone who sells training, that sounds just a little strange. But stay with me, because this episode may be the most important episode of this entire series. This is covering what I call the restart problem. Most people don't fail because they don't try. They fail because they restart. New plan, new rules, new motivation, new hope. And every restart quietly sends the same message. This is where this is so important. The message that it sends is, what I was doing wasn't enough. Over time, that erodes confidence. This is the problem with New Year's resolutions sometimes. It's not because people are incapable, but because progress is never allowed to count. I mean, if you look at that New Year's resolution, this year I'm going to make these incredible changes. Are you telling me that last year you did nothing productive? And what it really comes down to, if you strip all this way down, both the live age and the live food collapse into one issue. That's control. When people believe aging automatically causes decline, or when they think that food is doing this to them, they start assuming the body is the enemy, and they feel powerless. And powerless people don't change, not because they're lazy, but because why invest the effort when the outcome feels predetermined? The moment someone understands, I'm actually in control here, everything changes. Control creates hope, and hope creates action. Think about a business owner. Now, obviously, I'm a business owner. So to my other friends that are business owners out there, if there's a problem in the business, but you know, as a business owner, you know you personally can fix it, even if it means longer hours, harder decisions, or uncomfortable changes, really, you're oddly relieved. And why are you oddly relieved? Because you got a problem here, but you know you can fix it? Because effort is not the enemy. Helplessness is. Knowing you have control reduces stress. Even when the work is hard, as long as you know you have control, your stress is reduced. Let's talk about parents. And I'm quite a few parents out there, I'm sure. All right, think about this. When your child is struggling, your child is in pain or in danger, a parent at that point in time wants one thing. Besides, of course, the child being out of that situation. But what's the one thing a parent wants? They want control. If a parent knew they could protect their child, somehow remove their child's pain, if they knew personally they could ensure their child's success, they would do anything. They could take the pain away from their child and put it on themselves. Even if it doubled the pain, they would. That's not weakness. That's love. Now imagine that parent going to sleep every night, knowing they had that kind of autonomous control forever over their child. Their stress would plummet. Their hope would skyrocket. And the reason parenting is so stressful, it's the unknown. What happened when your child leaves your sight? That's why we see so much helicopter parenting. It's not about dominance, it's about control in the face of uncertainty. That exact same psychology shows up in health and aging. I don't know if you've ever heard this about World War II pilots, but this is why studies on World War II servicemen found that those with greater perceived control, like pilots, handled stress better. Not because their situation was safer, actually far more dangerous, but because they felt like they had agency. They felt like they had control. The body responds differently when it believes it has influence over outcomes. There's a great line. I've used this possibly in other podcasts. There's a great line in the movie The Replacements. This stars Keanu Reeves and Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman is a coach, and he's coaching Keanu Reeves, who's the character's a quarterback. Early in the movie, the game's on the line, and the quarterback hands the ball off. In other words, he gives control to someone else. Later in the defining moment of the movie, Hackman asks the quarterback. In this defining moment, yet again, the game is on the line. And he says to Keanu Reeves' character, "What's it going to be, Shane?" And his character says, "I want the ball." The coach, played by Hackman, responds, "Winners always do." That's not about ego. That's about ownership. Earlier in the movie, he'd given up control. And actually, the coach told the quarterback, when the game is all on the line, winners always want the ball. They want control. Business owners, parents. Let me show you how this applies to the health. Most people don't need a new plan. They need to stop handing the ball off to age, food, and basic gurus and take it back. Quit believing all the bull that's out there, all the confusion. Don't need more information. They need permission to trust what they already know and simplify it. This is where people misunderstand us. Here's the important part. Saying you don't need a new program doesn't, let's be clear on this, it doesn't mean do nothing. It certainly doesn't mean ignore problems. I understand that. It doesn't mean settle. It simply means this. You don't need to start over. And training with us isn't about beginning something different. It's about helping you simplify. It's what this entire series has been about. Simplifying. It's about helping you simplify. It's about helping you stabilize. It's about removing unnecessary enemies. Bad food versus good food, quote unquote. Age is an enemy. No, that's a lie. Stress, yeah, that is an enemy. We're going to remove that too. It removes these unnecessary enemies and allows you to keep the ball. Sometimes we help people add things. Sometimes we help people take things away. Both are progress. Just another recap here. Across this series, we've talked about simplifying nutrition. We've talked about understanding stress. We've talked about one of the biggest, removing food guilt, quit beating yourself up. And we've also defined the level of wellness. Now at the end here, and what we've been preaching out through this whole thing is about reclaiming control. That's what the lie of age is really about. Not fighting time, not battling food, but realizing you were never powerless to begin with. If you're tired of restarting, if you're tired of fighting enemies that do not exist, if you want simplifying, you want help simplifying what you already know, reach out to us. Call us area code 251-278-EDGE, EDGE. Email me, Garrett@personaledgefitness.com. Visit us at personaledgefitness.com or our Facebook page, Personal Edge Fitness, or message me directly on X @TeamPE. This is the lie of age, simplifying fitness and nutrition. That's what this whole series has been about. And it's one more way we help you reach your level of wellness. And this time, you don't need a new program. You just need to keep the ball. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for listening to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast with Garrett Williamson. Subscribe now and be a part of the show by calling 251-278-EDGE or message us on Facebook and Instagram at Personal Edge Fitness or at Team PE on Twitter, and visit us at personaledgefitness.com.
Did you know only 22% of 8th graders are proficient in civics? It's a statistic that affects all our futures. But Alabama's Liberty Learning Foundation is changing the headlines. We partner with schools to go beyond the textbook, teaching civics, character, and financial literacy in a way that empowers students to make a real impact in their own communities. Help Liberty Learning Foundation build the leaders Alabama needs. Join the movement today at libertylearning.org.